In the early 1970s, Grand Slam Club founder Bob Householder began keeping track of those who had taken all the trophy types recognized at the time by the Boone and Crockett Club. Bob himself was one of the first people to achieve that accomplishment. His foresight into this amazing lifetime achievement was the forerunner for what is today part of GSCO's family of slams as the Super Slam of North American Big Game. We'll recognize the Rifle Super Slammers first in numerical order, and then move on to the Archery Super Slammers. Join with us now as we honor these accomplished big game hunters. Terry Morgan of Texas completed Super Slam number 194 back in November 2020 when he collected a Columbia blacktail in California. Backing up, you see Terry with his polar bear from Nunavut, taken in April 2007. Another great bear from Terry's list is his Alaska Brown, which he got in May 2017 in Alaska. Terry returned to Alaska the following year and scored on an impressive Barren Ground Caribou and made his way back to Alaska once again in December 2019 to get this Sitka blacktail deer. Next up, we call Wisconsin's James Ziemer to the stage for achieving Super Slam number 224. And we'll begin with his Great Rocky Mountain elk taken in Colorado back in 2009. Next, we have the Alaska brown bear James got in April 2012. Moving along to 2016, we see the Great Alaska Yukon moose that James took on another hunt in Alaska. One of his more recent trophies was a woodland caribou from Newfoundland, taken in October 2021, and James finished his slam with a Central Canadian Barren Ground Caribou in Nunavut in September 2023. Super Slam number 241 belongs to Jerry Gross of Wisconsin, and he earned that milestone after taking a polar bear in Nunavut in April 2024. Backing up, Jerry scored on a Columbia blacktail deer in Oregon in October 2019, and in November 2022, he traveled to Alaska where he took his Sitka blacktail. In November 2023, Jerry hunted in southern British Columbia to get his Shiras moose, and in March 2024, Jerry made his way up to the Yukon where he got a pair of wolves. It was an Alaska Yukon moose taken in September 2024 that earned Scott Smith of Arkansas Super Slam number 247. Scott has a Grand Slam, and we chose his Stone Chief from BC, taken in 2008 to represent his 4 rams. Scott added a Quebec Labrador caribou to his Super Slam list back when those species were still huntable, and in 2022 he traveled to Nunavut where he connected on a polar bear. We'll finish up by showing you Scott's Great Roosevelt elk that he took in September 2023. Super Slam number 261 has been issued to Fred Finisi of Montana. Fred hunted on Kodiak Island, Alaska in April 2009 and scored on a Great Alaska Brown Bear. He returned to Kodiak Island several years later in November 2020 and took his Sitka blacktail deer. Fred hunted bison in South Dakota in November 2021, and in January 2025, he was able to add a mountain lion to his Super Slam list. So the stage was set, and later that very same month, Fred took a Desert Bighorn in Sonora, Mexico to achieve not only his Grand Slam, but his Super Slam as well. It was a Shiras moose taken in October 2024 that earned Pete Mowbray of Virginia Super Slam number 262. Backing up, you see Pete with his moose deer from Sonora, Mexico, which he got back in January 2003. We move a little north of the border to New Mexico, where Pete was successful in taking his pronghorn antelope in October 2005. In 2011, he hunted in Greenland to get his muskox, and we'll finish up Pete's presentation by showing his woodland caribou from Newfoundland that he got in October 2021. Super Slam number 263 belongs to Rick Young of Oregon, and he earned that number in April 2025 when he took his final trophy, a polar bear from NWT. Rick has registered a pair of mountain goats with GSCO, and we chose his 2007 goat from British Columbia to share. Rick made his way back to BC in September 2017 and scored on a very impressive grizzly bear there. He arrowed a fine mule deer in 2018, and Rick hunted Desert Bighorns in Sonora, Mexico back in February 2021, collecting a fine ram on that hunt. Next, we call Jeff Demoski of Colorado to the stage to receive Super Slam number 264. We begin Jeff's presentation by showing you his Alaska brown bear taken in May 2010. He hunted Shiras moose in Utah back in 2015, taking a fine bull there. Jeff is no stranger to sheep hunting, so it was only fitting that we show a ram from one of his 13.5 Grand Slams, a Rocky Mountain Bighorn from Montana, taken in 2017. Jeff's Roosevelt Elk from Oregon came in 2020, and he achieved his Super Slam in a unique way with an Alberta Wolf in February 2025. Number 29 on the Super Slam list for Anthony Wagner of Pennsylvania was a Montana Bison taken in July 2025 that earned him Super Slam number 265. Anthony hunted in Saskatchewan in September 2014 to get his Canada Moose, and in October 2018 he connected on a Coues deer while hunting in New Mexico. Anthony took a fine woodland caribou in Newfoundland in October 2023 and will finish up by showing you his great Thule elk from California from September 2024. Super Slam number 266 has been assigned to Craig Mueller of Idaho. Craig scored on an impressive Coues deer in January 2019 on a hunt in Sonora, Mexico. He traveled to NWT in August 2022 to get his mountain caribou, and the following month, Craig completed his Grand Slam with a Rocky Mountain Bighorn from Alberta. We'll finish up by showcasing two of Craig's bears, the first being the polar bear that he got in April 2024, and he finished his Super Slam in August 2025 with the grizzly bear that you see here. It was an Alaska grizzly bear taken in August 2025 that completed Super Slam number 267 for Farrell Gossman of Indiana. Farrell's first North American sheep was a doll from Alaska taken back in September 1995. In August 1997, he hunted in British Columbia to get his American mountain goat, and his muskox from Greenland came on a hunt in August 2011. Farrell's taken many whitetails over the years and wanted to finish up by showing you this impressive buck that he got back in October 2011. Kevin Gilbert of Montana is up next for Super Slam recognition, and he holds Super Slam number 269. Back in December 2007, Kevin took a cougar in his home state of Montana. Moving closer to the present, Kevin hunted in Sonora, Mexico in January 2023 to get his Coues deer, and later that same year in October, he finished his Super 10 with a bison from British Columbia. Kevin's polar bear from Nunavut came in March 2024, and in August 2025, he was able to collect the mountain caribou that you see here. It was a polar bear from Nunavut taken in August 2025, which earned Chipper Dipple of Texas Super Slam number 270. Chipper's first North American ram was a doll sheep from NWT taken in August 2010, which led to his eventual Grand Slam. Chipper hunted in British Columbia in October 2019 to get his Canada Moose, and his Columbia black-tailed deer from California came in July 2020. Chipper hunted on Kodiak Island, Alaska in October 2020 to get the American mountain goat that you see here. Super Slam number 271 belongs to Larry Day of California. Larry has trophies dating back to the 1970s, including his Columbia black-tailed deer from his home state, taken in October 1976. While moving much closer to the present, Larry added a Thule elk, also from California, to his Super Slam list in August 2020. And in November 2021, he got a Sitka blacktail on Kodiak Island, Alaska. His Central Canadian Bear and Ground Caribou came in August 2022, and he achieved his Super Slam with an Eastern Canada Moose in September 2025. Dennis C. Hirschfield of Texas is up next for Super Slam recognition, and he holds Super Slam number 272. Back in 2010, Dennis took a desert mule deer in Mexico, and in January 2013, he took a huge mountain lion on a hunt in Alberta. Dennis has taken several North American sheep over the years, including his Fannin from the Yukon, which he got in 2023. In October 2024, Dennis hunted on Vancouver Island, BC to get his Roosevelt elk, and he achieved the Super Slam milestone in October 2025 with a Canada Moose from Newfoundland. Well, as is the case with many hunters pursuing the Super Slam, William Falchuk of New York achieved his Super Slam number 274 with a polar bear. This bear was taken in Nunavut in May 2025. Backing up, you see William with his stone sheep from BC. That was taken in August 1994. He did a multi-species hunt in Nunavut back in September 1999, where he got both a Central Canadian Bear and Ground Caribou as well as a muskox. We'll finish up by showing William's Alaska Yukon Moose, which he got in the Yukon in September 2000. Super Slam number 275 belongs to David Tuttle of Idaho, and will begin with his pronghorn antelope from Wyoming, taken in September 2016. David has taken multiple Rocky Mountain elk over the years, and we chose his 2018 bull to represent those. David took a desert mule deer in Sonora, Mexico in December 2020, and his third desert bighorn was taken in Utah in 2024. David achieved his Super Slam in August 2025 with Alaska Yukon Moose from Alaska. It was an Alaska brown bear taken in August 2025 that qualified Richard L'Esperance of New York for Super Slam number 276. Another great Alaska trophy from Richie's list is his Sitka Blacktail from Kodiak Island, taken in November 2010. In September 2012, Richie scored on an impressive stone sheep in the Yukon, and his cougar from Alberta came in February 2013. Later that same year in November, Richie hunted mule deer in Saskatchewan, taking a fine buck there. Next, we call Mark Peterson of Michigan to the stage to receive Super Slam number 277. Mark's final trophy on the Super Slam list was his Alaska Yukon Moose, taken in September 2025 in the Yukon. Mark hunted Dall sheep in NWT back in August 2012, and in October 2013, he connected on a muskox in Nunavut. He hunted in Nunavut once more in September 2016, added a polar bear to his Super Slam list, and he used his muzzleloader to take a Quebec Labrador caribou in September 2017. Darren Millman of Ohio has done a tremendous amount of hunting the past few years as he works to achieve various hunting awards, but for now, we'd like to recognize him for earning Super Slam number 278. You saw his Shiras Moose from Utah taken in 2023, and his Roosevelt elk from California taken in September 2024. Darren hunted in Greenland to get a muskox bull in 2025 and took his final two trophies needed for the Super Slam in consecutive months in September and October 2025. The mountain caribou from NWT and number 29, a woodland caribou from Newfoundland. We now call Chris Thase of Arizona to the stage to receive Super Slam number 280. Chris was successful in taking a mountain lion in his home state of Arizona in January 2018. And in October 2022, he took another fine home state trophy, a Rocky Mountain elk. Chris has taken multiple Coues deer over the years, and his buck from September 2022 was quite impressive. He took it in, you guessed it, Arizona. In December 2023, Chris hunted desert bighorns in Mexico, taking a fine ram there, and he finished the Super Slam in November 2025 with a Shiras Moose from southern Alberta. It was a Sitka blacktail deer from Kodiak Island, Alaska, taken in November 2025 that earned Evan Zeiger of Alabama Super Slam number 281. Evan has done a tremendous amount of hunting over the past couple of years to finish the Super Slam at near warp speed. You saw his Yukon Fannin and his Roosevelt elk from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, both taken in 2024. Evan hunted in the Yukon once again in August 2025 to get his Alaska Yukon Moose, and we'll finish up by showing you Evan's polar bear from NWT that was also hunted in August 2025. Our next Super Slammer to recognize is John Kupiak of Michigan, and he holds Super Slam number 282. We'll begin with John's woodland caribou from Newfoundland, taken in October 2015. In 2018, John used his crossbow to take a mule deer on a hunt in Nebraska, and that same year, he scored on an impressive Quebec Labrador caribou in Quebec. John's grizzly bear came on a hunt in Alaska in 2020, and he reached number 29 on the Super Slam list in 2025 with a polar bear from Nunavut. Super Slam number 283 belongs to GSCO board member Brian Hauk of Alberta. One of Brian's earlier trophies towards his eventual Super Slam was his pronghorn antelope from New Mexico, which he got in September 2008. Brian is a past Obus recipient, so naturally he's taken several sheep, including one of his desert bighorns that you saw earlier. In September 2022, Brian scored on a bison in California, and on that same hunt, he also added a Tule elk to his list. Brian finished his Super Slam in November 2025 with a Shiras Moose. Super Slam number 284 has been issued to Doug Hartzler of Arizona. He achieved his Super Slam in October 2025 with a woodland caribou from Newfoundland. We chose Doug's beautiful stone sheep from BC, taken in August 2018 to represent his 4 rams. And in September 2020, he made his way up to Alaska, where he found success hunting Alaska Yukon moose. The polar bear is next for Doug, and he took it on a hunt in Nunavut in April 2023. And finally, you see Doug with another Nunavut trophy, a muskox, that he got in September 2024. Brian Tallarico of South Carolina holds Super Slam number 287. And we'll begin with Brian's Kansas whitetail that he took back in December 2010. The following year, he added a great Idaho bison to his Super Slam list. Brian's taken a pair of polar bears over the years, with his first coming in April 2016 in Nunavut. Moving closer to the present, Brian connected on a Shiras moose from southern Alberta in October 2024, and he took his final trophy, a Sitka black-tailed deer from Alaska, in November 2025. Number 29 on the Super Slam list for Pete Carlson of Minnesota was a polar bear from Nunavut, and it earned him Super Slam number 288. Well, backing up, you see Pete with his American Mountain Goat from British Columbia, taken in November 2012, and in May 2017, he hunted on Kodiak Island, Alaska to get his brown bear. Pete's Rocky Mountain Bighorn came on a hunt in Utah in November 2018, and in September 2019, he made his way to British Columbia once again, on this time in pursuit of Roosevelt elk, taking a fine bull there. That completes our Firearm Super Slam Awards, but hold tight because we still have the Archery Super Slammers to recognize. Our Archery Super Slam Awards are presented each year by our sponsor, Mathews. We separate Archery Super Slams from firearms in order to recognize these accomplished bow hunters. It was a Rocky Mountain elk from Alberta taken in September 2025 that earned Ray Pastway of Ontario Super Slam number 268 and Archery Super Slam number 49. Ray hunted in Mexico in January 2016 to get his desert mule deer, and in August 2019 he arrowed an American Mountain Goat in British Columbia. Ray's taken several North American rams over the years, and we wanted to show you his impressive Dahl ram from NWT that he got in 2019 to represent those. Finally, you see Ray with his Alaska brown bear that he arrowed in May 2022. Greg Spurgeon of Indiana holds Super Slam number 273 and Archery number 50. We'll begin Greg's presentation with his Canada Moose from British Columbia, taken in August 2015. Moving along, Greg arrowed a Rocky Mountain Bighorn in November 2019 on a hunt in Colorado, and his Columbia Blacktail from Oregon came in 2021. Next, you see Greg with his Roosevelt elk from California. That was taken in September 2024, and he finished the Archery Super Slam in October 2025 with a polar bear from Nunavut. Super Slam number 279 and Archery Super Slam number 51 belongs to Tony Mudd of Nevada. He finished that milestone in September 2025 with an Eastern Canada moose from Newfoundland. Reeling back the years, you see Tony with an impressive Rocky Mountain elk that he arrowed in his home state of Nevada in 2004. He traveled to BC in August 2005 to get a fine stone sheep, and in October 2008 he added a pair of barren ground caribou from Alaska to his Super Slam list. We finished Tony's presentation with one of the Columbia blacktail bucks that he's taken over the years. Next, we call Timothy Vance of South Carolina to the stage for Super Slam number 286 and Archery Super Slam number 52. Tim's Mountain Caribou from British Columbia came in September 2017, and in April 2019, he hunted polar bear in Nunavut, taking a great bear. His Mountain Lion from BC was taken in November 2019, and he arrowed a great bison on a hunt in Alaska in March 2020. Well, Tim finished his Archery Super Slam milestone in September 2025 with a Canada Moose from British Columbia. Well, that concludes all of our Super Slam awards for this year. Let's give this amazing group of big game hunters and conservationists one more big round of applause.